Hey all, Kumo here, back with another devlog for Hollow Runes. So if you don't know, Hollow Runes is a 3D action RPG being created solely by me and the community as well. Join my Discord below. And as a quick side note, I have a big announcement to make at the end of the video, so stick around till the end. In the last video, we talked about a lot of the character movement and the gameplay loop, but this video we're going to be diving straight into combat. So I hope you're ready, and let's jump right in. So before we jump right into the combat, we're going to be talking about the best weapon that you can add to any RPG. And I know what you're probably thinking. A sword, a staff, maybe even a bow and arrow? No. This is going to be so much better than everything combined, which you totally didn't see in the thumbnail. It's the enigmatic, the elusive, amazing, perfectly symmetrical, god-tier weapon that could ever grace this green earth. That's right. The stick. I know. Take a deep breath, everyone. I know this is huge. You're probably asking yourself, Kumo, how could you think of such a prolific and ingenious item to add for your first weapon? And to that, dear viewer, I tell you, it's actually a trade secret I can't tell you. But what I can say is when I found out about the incredible power of the stick, I knew I had to jump into Blender immediately and start creating it. So in a feverish daze, I began. I just started working non-stop. And then, it was finally finished. And here it is, everybody. Just marvel at the absolute beauty of this unit. Even as a starting weapon, the feats that the player will be able to perform are going to be insurmountable. But what's a great weapon without something to hit? And so if you remember in my previous devlogs, we have this silly little fool right here. And sorry pal, but you're finally getting your justice. That's right friend, your time has finally come. But before I could even think about slaying this vile creature, I had to get coding. I have a very rudimentary combat system in place right now, but that was not going to cut it for the combo system that I wanted to implement. So for me, it was back to the drawing board. After many hours and sleepless nights, I finally came up with a system that is modular and makes sense for my game. But to avoid all the boring coding that I had to do, I'll summarize it with this. When the character is holding the stick, they have a certain number of combos attached to it. And then it's just as easy as assigning the combos that I want to animate right into Unity. I made it with the intention that no matter how many combos a particular skill has, you'll be able to add the corresponding amount of animations. So with this system in place, when I have the stick equipped, I currently have an idle attack, a walking attack, and a running attack. But right now these are just empty states, so now we need to get animating. Alright, so with my trusty stick in hand, I started putting my head down and working right away. Get your head out of the gutter. It's a stick, okay? I needed to create 3 animations that flowed nicely together so I could really create a nice transition between my animations. So first up was the appropriately named Stick Combo 1, followed by Stick Combo 2, and then lastly, you guessed it, Stick Combo 3. When I finally had all these animations set up, now the fun began. I could export my Blender file right into Unity and start making my character do some sick moves. Stick moves? No, that's stupid. And while we're talking about animations, I also wanted to show you that I cleaned up a ton of the script that I had for my wall jumping. Although I don't have the Y velocity going up, i.e. I'm not jumping right after the wall jump, it still looks a heck of a lot better, and it's definitely subject to change still, but it's a step in the right direction. Now with all my animations exported to Unity, it was as simple as just attaching them right to my new script that triggers the combos, and that's when I ran into my first problem. You see, I was only using the stick in Blender as a prop, just to have a good representation of what it was going to look like in the game, but it's not actually attached to the player, so I needed to make some minor tweaks just to make sure that everything was functioning properly. After readjusting the stick's position in most of my animations, it came out pretty damn well. And bam, I have these snazzy looking animations. Firstly, here's the player idle. Then you can see them start to walk and attack at the same time. And finally, I have this really shitty running animation that is definitely subject to change, but I just wanted to throw it in there for playtesting purposes. As always, let me know in the comments any feedback that you guys have, because it is greatly appreciated. And if you haven't joined the Discord server yet, what are you doing? The link is right in the description. I mean, like, no pressure or anything, it's just really cool. So now that the character starts attacking and has their S-grade bonker equipped, I needed to start making collisions. For those of you that don't know, collisions are what checks to see if two separate objects are colliding. So in this case, it's going to be the stick and the enemy. And that's about the time I ran into my second problem. This one was honestly just kind of bananas on my part. I totally forgot to make it a trigger effect. So when two colliders hit, they react to one another. And this is the result. I mean, nothing to see here, guys, just another walk in the park, right? But eventually, way too long, I corrected my heinous mistake and literally just had to check a single box to make sure the collisions interacted with each other correctly. And now that that's finally finished and I have the colliders up and running, it's time for this poor, poor soul to finally meet my stick plus 10. You think you can just stand idly by in my test scene and do whatever you want, don't you? I mean, look at that face. Well, the time has finally come. Back to our regularly scheduled programming, and on a probably more serious note, there are a ton of things that I want to accomplish with this project, and I'm totally up to a ton of suggestions regarding that. So if you want to see anything in the game, feel free to leave it in the comments. But after that bloodbath, I want to pivot into talking about exactly what it means to create this combat system. Since it's so modular, I'm going to be able to add a bunch of different skills via the runes and implement them just as easily as I did the stick. Now, a lot of these skills are not actually going to be physical objects, but some of them will be manifestations of objects, i.e. maybe like an ethereal axe or something of the sort. But moving forward, this modular system is going to make creating those skills a heck of a lot easier, and I'll be able to start implementing them very soon. I can't emphasize enough how great it was to finally get this code working the way I wanted it to. And in my last devlog, I was talking about how I really like the idea of playing and messing around with different playstyles and builds. So this system is going to allow exactly that. You can easily swap between having a 3-hit combo with a fire rune, for example, and then I'm also going to start implementing heavy attacks as well. So you'll be able to do a 3-hit combo with your basic attack, which could be a variety of different runes, and then finish it off with a heavy attack, which is a completely separate rune. So it'll really allow a lot of flexibility in your gameplay style. Well, that was another great week of progress. Thank you guys so much for sticking along for the ride. If you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing and leaving a like. That would help the algorithm, actually make my videos be shown a little bit more. And that would be really cool. So thank you so much for supporting the project, and hope to see you on the Discord. Cheers.